Hey, what is up, guys, and welcome back to Football Discussions. And today we are coming at you with a brand new 2021 NFL mock draft. Unfortunately, draft season is coming to an end, so this will be the final mock. But regardless, it's been a fun ride. If you guys liked the video, please leave a like. If you want to see post-draft content, all NFL content, please subscribe. But regardless, let's get right into this bad boy, starting off with the number 1 overall pick, which belongs to the Jacksonville Jaguars. I got him going Trevor Lawrence, and we'll move right along to the number 2 overall pick, which is Zach Wilson, the quarterback out of BYU. At this point, 1 and 2 are a lock. I'm willing to say that. I'd be shocked if anything else happens. At the 1 and 2 spot, Zach Wilson, a terrific player. For the very few of you who don't know and might be watching your first mock draft of the season who don't even know who this guy is, he's a fantastic quarterback. The modern day NFL quarterback is how I would describe him, right? He's got the ability to throw off platform, throw cross body, has a terrific arm, can improvise on plays, great at processing, great at reading defenses, just a really, really talented quarterback. The ceiling is the roof for him. Shout out Jordan. A really, really, really talented player. And I think the pairing of him and Mike LaFleur in New York would just be too good of a chance to pass up on. So Jets taking Zach Wilson out of BYU at 2. At 3, this is where everyone says the draft starts, and I agree, and I'm taking Mac Jones, the quarterback out of Alabama. Sounds like San Francisco's front office right now is split. Sounds like Kyle Shanahan wants Mac Jones. Sounds like the rest of the front office wants Trey Lance, the quarterback out of North Dakota State. And when it comes down to it, I think Kyle Shanahan is going to get his wish. I think he has a little more pull than the scouting department and the personnel department in San Fran, right? It's his team. He's an offensive-minded coach. John Lynch is going to give him the players that Shanahan thinks he can succeed with the most. And to Shanahan, that is Mac Jones. And you're saying, why did you trade up 3 first-round picks for Mac Jones, right? When Trey Lance is on the board, his ceiling could be way higher than Mac Jones. Justin Fields is on the board. His ceiling could be way higher than Mac Jones. And I think it's because Shanahan likes these guys with a high floor coming to the league. The guys that are pro-ready. That's Mac Jones. He's extremely smart, a great processor, fantastic accuracy, doesn't turn the football over, smartest quarterback in the class, right? So I think that's what Shanahan wants. He wants a guy that he can grow the 49ers offense with, make adjustments with on the fly, and that's what Mac Jones is. So I think that the safe pick here is Mac Jones. He has a tremendously high ceiling. He is pro-ready. He's going to come in and start right away for the 49ers. So I think that's what Shanahan wants, and I think he will get his wish. At 3, 49ers take Mac Jones. At 4, this one's easy. Get the most versatile player in the class. In my opinion, the best player in the class, Kyle Pitts, the tight end out of Florida. You can line him up at wide receiver. You can line him up at tight end. You can line him up in the slot. He's a mismatch versus linebackers, safeties, nickel cornerbacks. And if he's at X, he's a size mismatch for most outside corners. So a terrific player, a mismatch nightmare, and the Falcons' new coach Arthur Smith comes from Tennessee, where they ran 2 tight end sets all the time. It's probably going to continue that philosophy. You got Hayden Hurst, you got Kyle Pitts, 2 really, really good tight ends, Ridley and Julio on the outside. It's a dynamic offense if you bring tight end Kyle Pitts in here and make Matt Ryan's life very easy next year. Pitts at 4 to Atlanta. At 5, now I want to make this very clear. This is not what I would do. This is what I think is going to happen. And it sounds like Joe Burrow is pushing the front office for Ja'Marr Chase, and I think they will end up taking Ja'Marr Chase. Ja'Marr Chase, really talented player. I still think you go Penei, Sewell, or Rashawn Slater here at 5. But Ja'Marr Chase, still, like I said, terrific player, great physicality, a tremendous receiving threat, got really, really good release, can create separation, very good catch radius, just a physical specimen, an athlete at the wide receiver position, reuniting with his former teammate Joe Burrow in Cincinnati. At 6, the Miami Dolphins are on the clock, and I have them going Jaylen Waddle, the wide receiver out of Alabama. Now, this could be a trade-down spot if one of the quarterback-needy teams wants to trade up, and this also could be an offensive lineman spot with the Eric Flowers trade. If you wanted to bring in a Sewell, if you wanted to bring in a Slater, you could certainly do that here at 6. However, I think they elect to go with the wide receiver Jaylen Waddle out of Alabama for the same reasons that we see the Bengals getting Joe Burrow, a familiar weapon, in Ja'Marr Chase at 5, right? Tua Tagovailoa struggled last year, and it was because he didn't have guys creating elite separation that you see at Alabama. No matter what level he plays at, I still think Jaylen Waddle has the ability to basically be untouched every play because he's so dynamic and so electric, and I think it's going to make Tua's life a lot easier. It's a familiar weapon, and it's a guy that just creates separation like no other, finds open space on the field. I think that's why Miami would bring in Jaylen Waddle, who's really solidified himself as the wide receiver 2 in this class after the weight concerns of DeVonta Smith. Again, this isn't in my eyes. I still think DeVonta Smith is better than Jalen Waddle, but I feel like in most GM's eyes, they're pretty low on DeVonta Smith, especially after that most recent weigh-in of 166. It's going to be a concern for GMs as much as I think it shouldn't be. So Jalen Waddle at 6 to Miami. At 7, we have a trade here, and it's going to be New England trading up 15, their second rounder, and a future second to Detroit for 7. Stephon Gilmore could be involved in this trade. I'm hearing they're shopping him right now, so it's going to be interesting to see if the Patriots trade up and what they give to trade up. For right now, I'm just going to do a pick-based trade. Don't want to do a player-based trade, but Justin Fields, the quarterback out of Ohio State, is the pick. Sounds like Bill Belichick wants him if he falls to a range that he feels comfortable trading up here. I think this is that range. Bill elects to trade up, something that he basically never does, to get the quarterback of the future. And yes, Justin Fields is getting a lot of slander right now, but in my opinion, if he can go to a situation like New England with a fantastic head coach and a player that's kind of a similar player to him, obviously he doesn't have the physicality of Cam, but the mobility is still there. Learn under Cam, who's been in the league for a really long time, grow and develop for a year, and then come in and be the starter for New England next year. I think that's the best situation for Justin Fields. I think he has to go to a scenario where he can grow and develop before he's thrust in right away. Because of that, the fact that he's not the best processor in this class. He was from a one-read offense, right? So I think there are some concerns with Justin Fields. Should he fall outside the top 10? Absolutely not. Still a terrific player. Got a tremendously high ceiling. But I think that there are some valid concerns about his game, and that's why we see him slipping, and that's why he's not even in contention at 3 for the 49ers. At 8, this is going to be Penei Sewell, the offensive tackle out of Oregon. A really, really good offensive lineman here, and it's basically just the easiest and smartest pick for the Panthers if he falls this far. I know there are some rumors about the Panthers possibly selecting a quarterback at 8. And if Trey Lance is there at 8, which he is in this scenario, they could very well take the shot on Trey Lance, right? So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. I do have them going with the safe pick. This is your Greg Little replacement. You can plug and play him at left tackle. You got Taylor Moton at right tackle. You're building up a solid, 2 solid bookends for your new franchise quarterback, or who you hope will be your new franchise quarterback, in Sam Darnold. So a good pickup here for the Panthers, just investing in some protection. At 9, this is going to be the Trey Lance spot, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Broncos trade down. I think their QB3 after Wilson and Lawrence very well could be Mac Jones, right? Because Lance and Fields are guys that are going to have to come in, take a year, learn under whatever quarterback's there. The Broncos currently have Drew Lock, and that's it. They want a guy that can come in, win now. I think they view that as Mac Jones, but I do elect to have them going Trey Lance here because I still think his upside is ridiculous. But again, they could trade this back to a football team that might the Washington football team that might be quarterback eager, even the Chicago Bears that might be quarterback eager. This very well could be a trade down spot for the Denver Broncos, right? So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. I do have them going Trey Lance, but again, don't be surprised if one of these, Fields or Lance, is on the board at 9 and Denver elects to trade back. At 10, I have the Los Angeles Chargers trading up with the Dallas Cowboys to get Rashawn Slater. Same method that I talked about the Bengals doing. You got to get some protection for your young quarterback. Obviously, the Bengals passed on that opportunity. I'm not going to have the Chargers doing that. Trade up in front of the Giants, who could be in play for Slater, and take Rashawn Slater out of Northwestern. Again, a really, really good player. They are only giving up a 1 and a 3 to move up 3 spots. Not that much capital. A really, really good player to start right away for Los Angeles and be that tackle and be that bookend and be that protection for Justin Herbert in Los Angeles. At 11, it sounds like the Giants front office is split. I've seen J.C. Horn name being thrown a lot around that the Giants front office loves him, which makes sense. A press man corner, a physical corner. Why wouldn't Gettleman love that? Gettleman apparently loves Parsons, which also makes sense because he loves linebackers. Joe Judge, though, I feel like the report, if I'm remembering correctly, said that he was the front runner for DeVonta Smith. I think you're going to do what the coach wants, right? DeVonta Smith, a really, really good talent at wide receiver. Create separation more than anyone on the Giants team right now. And I know Kenny Galladay's a good signing. He still doesn't create separation. He's a contested catch guy. Isn't going to get all that wide open for Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones needs someone that can consistently break away and be wide open, create separation, has a great catch radius, and that's exactly what DeVonta Smith does. The dude's only flaw is being 166 pounds. I still think he's a terrific receiver. Got probably the most consistent hands in this class. Actually, no, definitely the most consistent hands in this class. A tremendous route runner and also electric after the catch. So I think it's a very smart pickup for the Giants to go DeVonta Smith here, a weapon for Daniel Jones. And yeah, so DeVonta Smith at 11 to New York. At 12 is the Patrick Surtain spot. There are some rumors of Philly trading up. I don't know whether it's for a receiver, a quarterback even, or a cornerback. I do have them electing to go cornerback here in Patrick Surtain. He's the most ready corner in this class. Created an island for himself at Alabama last year. Basically, no one threw his way. He's a physical corner coming in at over 200 pounds. Got great length, great in man coverage, a really, really good player, and someone that I really expect to succeed for Philadelphia next year and would be a great partner across the way from Darius Slay. At 13, Cowboys trade back, still get who I believe is the best corner in the class, and that's Jaycee Horn out of South Carolina. He's so physical and he's so fast. Great in press man. He can play the drop zone scheme as well due to that athleticism. Just a really, really, really good cornerback. And I think that Dallas does trade back. They do miss on Surtain, who might have the higher floor. But I think Horn's ceiling is exponentially higher than Surtain's. And he's just a tremendous football player. Again, my CB1 in this class. And I think that Dallas is still getting a great value here for Jaycee Horn at 13. At 14, I'm going Jalen Phillips, the edge out of Miami. This could very well still be offensive line. You lost Riley Reif this offseason. You might want to replace him at the tackle position. You also need some help at guard. Ezra Cleveland, who was drafted last year, might slide out to tackle. And it's going to be interesting to see what the Vikings do. But I think the weakness of their team last year was not getting enough pressure on the quarterback. Partly due to Danielle Hunter's injury, but also due to the fact that there's really no one alongside Danielle Hunter. So by bringing in Jalen Phillips, I know he has some injury concerns with the wrists and the head, the multiple concussions that he had, but I still think he's the best edge in this class, the most talented edge in this class, gets after the quarterback, has the best technique, are a really, really good football player. And I think that the Vikings don't pass up on the opportunity to get edge number one. And without the injuries, I think Jalen Phillips would be a top 10 pick. So if he pans out, it's fantastic value. At 15, the Lions trade back and get the player that they might have taken at number 7. It's a dream scenario. They elect to go Micah Parsons out of Penn State, a really, really good linebacker. His athleticism and his length are going to enable him to develop into a great coverage linebacker. But he's a fantastic run stopper, got a nose for the football, great at block shedding. He can come off the edge in third down situations. Just a very versatile guy, and I think it's a smart pickup here for Detroit at 15. At 16, I have the Titans trading up with the Cardinals. They're giving up a first, a third, and a fourth. Zona does not have a third or a fourth round pick, so I think it's a deal that works out for both sides. And it works out for Tennessee because they need a corner that can come in and start day one, which they currently do not have, except for Janoris Jenkins, who's currently their CB1, right? They lost Malcolm Butler. They lost Desmond King. They lost Adoree Jackson. They need a CB, and while Farley might fall to them at 22, I still think they need more security than that, and Greg Newsome possesses that. He's another guy with fantastic length on him, really, really good ball skills, can bat down the football. Tremendous football player, and I think that Titans trading up to get him makes the most sense for them to trade up to 16 and get that security blanket at corner in Greg Newsome. At 17, I'm going Jamin Davis, the linebacker out of Kentucky. I think it's the perfect Las Vegas Raiders pick. He's got, that versatility that you want in a linebacker, but mainly, and when you're picking for Vegas, you pick athleticism. He's got that athleticism. You can see in the picture, he's got really long arms. He's got great length. He'll be really good in coverage, but he's also a physical tackler, got that mean streak in him, and a consistent tackler as well. So I think that Jamin Davis going to the Raiders makes a lot of sense at 17. A really good football player and someone that I think fits Gruden's scheme and Mayock's, type of player in Las Vegas. At 18, I'm going Alijah VERA-TUCKER, the offensive tackle / interior offensive lineman out of USC. And this is basically because the offensive line in Miami next year is going to be constantly readjusted up until week 1, right? There's so many different players that can play so many different positions. Are you going to play Robert Hunt at tackle? Are you going to play Austin Jackson at tackle? Are you going to play, some of these other guys at guard, right? So it's going to be patchwork for a lot of it. And Alijah VERA-TUCKER's versatility allows you to bring in a guy that wherever you have a hole, you can plug it because he can play all along the offensive line. He can play guard. He can play tackle. He's a good football player, one of my favorite players in this class based off that versatility. And I think it's the smart pickup for Miami at 18. At 19, I'm going Jeremiah OWUSU-KORAMOAH, the linebacker to Notre Dame, and that's after that Eric Flowers trade. I don't think offensive line is as big of a need for the Redskins anymore. Sure, they still need a left tackle. You drafted Sadiq Charles last year. Is he going to start for you? You have Morgan Moses on the right side, sure, Foulier, obviously, and now Eric Flowers back. I think line isn't as big of a need for the football team anymore. Instead, I opt to have them go in with linebacker Jeremiah OWUSU-KORAMOAH out of Notre Dame, a really good linebacker. He can play safety for you. I know that the football team's talking about moving Landon Collins to linebacker. So if you want to put Karamoah at safety, go for it. He's coming in at I think 220 pounds, which is more safety weight than it is linebacker weight. A bit light, but again, he can play anywhere. It's great value here. He's a top 15 player in my opinion, and for the football team to get him here at 19, I think makes a lot of sense. At 20, here's where DARRISAW goes, the offensive tackle out of Virginia Tech. He very well could be a top 15 pick, right? If Sewell and SLATER are gone by the Chargers pick, I think they ought to go DARRISAW. The Vikings could even go DARRISAW at 14. He's got a great frame, great size, and might be one of the best pure pass blockers in this draft class. A really, really good football team, and it's exactly what the Bears need to plug in and play an offensive tackle that can block for the Red Rifle next year in Chicago. At 21, this is the Elijah Moore spot, and I talk about this in all my videos. Elijah Moore is one of the most underrated players in this class. He's a terrific receiver. He's right neck and neck there with Jalen Waddle for the wide receiver 3 spot, in my opinion. He's so good. Great at creating separation. He plays bigger than his size, goes up and gets the football, and he's such an underrated route runner. It's ridiculous. He's not just a gadget receiver. He can be a tremendous slot receiver. You can play him at X. He's that dominant. I think him and Michael Pittman will make a terrific pairing for Carson Wentz next year. So Elijah Moore, the wide receiver out of Ole Miss, to the Colts at 21. At 22, this is via that trade, and instead of going corner, which I know is a need, but you brought in Malcolm Butler to replace Pat Pete maybe, you also have, obviously, Byron Murphy, you drafted a few years ago. You hold on, you have your second-round pick, a third-round pick, and a fourth-round pick now. Got a lot of value from that trade if you're the Cardinals. Instead, you go with one of the best players available, and that's ZAVEN Collins, the edge linebacker hybrid out of Tulsa. Reminds me a lot of Hassan Reddick. And the Cardinals staff has been notorious for not using players like this the way they need to be used, but they got better with using Hassan Reddick. I think Isaiah Simmons needs to be used better in Arizona, but regardless, I think he fills 2 needs. If you want him to play off-the-ball linebacker, you got that, right? ZAVEN Collins is great in coverage. He showed it at Tulsa. He's also very good at tackling, can stop the run consistently, but if you want him at that edge spot playing alongside Chandler Jones, he can also slide into that role perfectly. He can rush the passer. He proved that also at Tulsa. A really, really good player, a guy that just is a total hybrid. You can play him anywhere. Got great versatility, and I think Arizona goes with Collins at 22, who they've been rumored to quite fancy in this draft. At 23, this is via that Jamal Adams trade. With Seattle, Jets back on the clock, and I have them going AZEEZ OJULARI, the edge rusher out of Georgia. He's a bit undersized, but right alongside Jaelan Phillips, he's the best pure pass rusher in this class. Gets after the quarterback, always in the backfield. One of the highest pass rush consistency rates out of any of these players. Always after the quarterback, and that's exactly what the Jets need. I love the Lawson signing. Now you're bringing AZEEZ OJULARI on the other side. You got your Buckeyes to go after the quarterback. I think it's a really smart pickup for the Jets here at 23. At 24, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers going Caleb Farley, the cornerback out of Virginia Tech. Corner's a huge need for the Steelers. I know people love to mock running back here, but they got really big needs along the offensive line. They got really big needs along the secondary as well. They even have a need at edge rusher after Bud Dupree left. So they could go a variety of different directions here. I have them going Caleb Farley, the cornerback out of Virginia Tech. A really, really good football player. And it's just that minor back surgery that's holding him back. But I get it. There's obviously going to be concerns, especially when it comes to back injuries. So Caleb Farley falls down draft boards. I don't think the Steelers pass on him if he's available at the spot. So Caleb Farley to the Steelers at 24. At 25, this is via the Jalen Ramsey trade, Jaguars' second first-rounder, and they go Trayvon Moehrig, the safety out of TCU. It was really the one position that they haven't addressed in this free agency period yet. I still think they need help at the safety position. Trayvon Moehrig coming in at 6'1", 200-something pounds, a really good safety frame. He's got great length on him, a fantastic tackler, and he also is good in coverage. You can play him at nickel if you want. He's better at more of a split safety role. He can play either side. Just a really, really good football player and someone that I think Jacksonville could use to his best ability. At 26, this is going to be the Christian Barmore pick. Browns elect to go Christian Barmore to fill the Sheldon, no, not whoever they lost. I want to say Sheldon Rankins. If that's wrong, let me know down in the comments. I'll look it up after. But regardless, they do have a hole at interior defensive line. Christian Barmore coming in and filling that works out perfectly for Cleveland. It's kind of just the best fit and one of the best players available still on the board. I like the pick a lot for the Browns. At 27, this is the Ravens' first pick in the draft, out of 2 in the first round, and I have them going Rashad Bateman, the wide receiver out of Minnesota. He's got that big catch radius that Lamar Jackson needs. Obviously, not the most accurate quarterback in the world, and Bateman possesses that potential that the Ravens have been looking for in the wide receiver position. So by bringing in Bateman, it makes Lamar Jackson's life a lot easier. You got the speedy Sammy Watkins, and also the electric Devin Duvernay and Marquise Brown. Now you're building out a really solid receiving core for Lamar Jackson in Baltimore. At 28, this is the Kwity Paye spot. This is your Trey Hendrickson replacement, New Orleans. Kwity Paye's a great player. I'm a bit low on him. He could go as high as 14 in this class. Hell, even the Eagles are rumored to really like Kwity Paye, so he could even go as high as 12. I wouldn't put it past Howie Roseman to draft Kwity Paye at 12. But regardless, I see him as more of a run stopper than anything else, and he's a damn good run stopper, but I value pass rushing so much more at the edge position. I still think Kwity Paye is a great player, but this is why I have him going a little later than guys like AZEEZ and Jalen Phillips. Regardless, a good player and someone that I think fills that role in New Orleans at the edge position. At 29, I have Tevin Jenkins going here to the Green Bay Packers. They do need a tackle. They do need a corner. They do need a receiver. All of those are needs. I think they elect to go tackle. Tevin Jenkins has the flexibility to play right tackle. Obviously, you have Bakhtiari at left. I think Tevin Jenkins can play right tackle for Green Bay right away. Another guy like DARRISAW that just has a really solid frame, a great pass blocker, and can get in there in the run game as well. Tevin Jenkins kind of the complete package at the tackle position, and Green Bay selects him with the 29th pick. At 30, this is the first running back spot, and when you're the Bills and you're going to be that team always competing with the Chiefs in the AFC, you have to make your offense as dynamic as possible. So while there are needs on the edge, you do need a corner alongside Tre'Davious White. I think they elect to go with the best running back in this class, Najee Harris, out of Alabama, and the thing that hurt them the most in the playoffs last year was the lack of the run game. Now you're getting a stud in Najee Harris to elevate your run game, a good guy in pass pro, which could very much help Josh Allen's game as well. He's a fantastic running back, and he's also great in the pass game. So Najee Harris, the complete package, a really, really good running back, and the Bills elect to go him at 30. At 31, I have Jayson Oweh going, the edge rusher out of Penn State, to Baltimore, a guy that can, again, play basically anywhere on that defensive line, sidewise, left end and right end. And also, if he goes to a 3-4 scheme, he can also play outside linebacker. He's a tremendous athlete. He ran in the 4-4s, I want to say. Maybe it was even the 4-3s at the edge rushing position. He's only played competitive football for 4 years. He's still developing. He's a really, really good football player, and I think if he goes to a team with a good DC, he can develop into possibly the best edge rusher out of this class when it's all said and done. A first-round talent in my mind, and the Ravens take a swing on him here, and hopefully it pays off for Baltimore at 31. And to wrap up the final mock draft of the season, we got Levi Onwuzurike, never going to be able to pronounce that name, the interior defensive lineman out of Washington, best pass rushing the interior defensive lineman out of Washington, best pass rushing defensive lineman in this class, and the Buccaneers love getting after the quarterback. We saw it all year long. Last year, guys like Shaq Barrett coming off the edge, JPP coming off the edge. Vita Vea is more of that run stopper. Now you put Levi in there to go after the quarterback. I think it's a perfect pairing on the inside for Tampa Bay. A really, really good football player and a really great way to end off this draft. All right, guys, that's going to do it for draft season. That's going to do it for me in my final mock draft. Hope you guys all enjoyed it. If you liked the video, please leave a like. And if you want to see more draft content all throughout the draft and NFL content after the draft, please subscribe. Take it easy, everyone. Hope you're staying safe and healthy out there. Peace.